Good morning. My name is Laura Hackle, and I will be doing the webinar of the tour of the main menu. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, please email or contact your support representative. As you can see, the modeling and drawing editor have switched from the left-hand side of your screen to the top. Your job contacts and properties are also like a directory. For the specific job, for the contractor, the architect, the engineer, the fabricator. We also have a new thing called a project transfer. This will pack, or I guess zip up your job and your fabricator together. So you have your job repository where it's coming from. The job name, as you can see, the main menu tour is my job name, and my fabricator, the main menu tour. The directory is going to go to my output. I'm going to change this, and I'm just going to have it go to my desktop and hit OK. And so now it's saying the directory is going to my desktop. You can change whatever name that you would like this to be called, and it's just going to zip it up. You can also have advanced options. You can put your status configurations. You can include those, your plugins, and your reports. These will all go inside the jobs folder. If you do include plugins, it is the person that is receiving the job in Fabricator. It's their job to take that plugins folder out of the jobs folder and put it in the plugins folder in the data directory. I'm going to go ahead and select these because I want them to include it. And another thing about reports, if you only wanted to select certain reports, you can go into the data directory and create a new reports folder, and then put those specific reports in there. I'm going to go ahead and hit pack. All right. I'm just going to minimize this really quick. And it should be here. But it will create a zipped folder for you. I'm going to go ahead and hit this. Status transfer and my main menu. Alright, another thing you can do is you can unpack the job. So if you're sending this to someone with the viewer, they'll just hit File to Unpack. They'll browse for that zipped file that you sent them, and then they can send this to their default repository. And they can just hit Unpack. And that will put it in the specific jobs and fabs folder. All right. Next is the status transfer. I'm not going to get into this too much. Hopefully in the future we'll have a webinar specifically for status transfer. But you can import, which will import an XML status transfer file, or you can also export one. This will transfer key information from the status or custom properties. Next, you'll see project information. The information you can select by members, sequence, or zone. But we're just going to pick all members right now. The first tab we see is detailing. These tabs are for specific stations. Since we're in the detailing station, we'll normally just use these ones. If you're in the approval station or the erector station, that will be the first tab. The total count will go, or the total members will go by count and tons. It does not take into account for group members and for the count and percentage. It does recognize the sub-members and the status for those. I'm going to go ahead. I have in my modeling, I just have the basic training model. So I'm going to go ahead and click refresh here. So it's saying the total members that I have in my job are 117. And then the members that are on sheets are 110. And it's 31 tons. I'm going to go ahead and go back into modeling. And I'm going to take this member, for example, double click on it. And I'm going to go into the properties. And in the detailer, for model check date, I'm just going to double click here and make it so it's a modeled checked and click OK. Now if I go to the main menu and I click, you have to make sure that you click refresh. So now it'll say that one member has been model checked. For detail checked would be the exact same thing. I'm just going to double click on the same member and go into the properties, detailer, and detail check date. Just going to double click here, hit OK to this, and on my main menu I'll just click refresh again. We'll be doing the same thing for the model complete. Let's go to model, update status, and then for the approval modeling tab, model complete, I'm going to double click on this and I'll just go by area, and I'm just going to select these members right here. I'm just going to right click and OK. And I do want to update these members, so I'm going to left click. And that's fine. So when I go to the main menu again and click refresh, it will say that I have 12 members that are on model complete. The next we'll be doing is sent for approval. So I'll just go to the model, update status, approval modeling, submitted for approval, double click. I'll go by area and I'll just select these members right here, right click OK, and yes, I want to update the status, and I'll refresh. Also do the same thing. You can do release for fabrication. So I'll go to model, update status, the fabrication tab, release for fabrication. I'll do this one by piece mark. I'll just select some members here. Click OK. I'll go ahead and click refresh. And then for held, I'll just click this member right here. And I'll go into the status. And for hold, date held, I'm just going to double click for this one, for this specific member. And now on the main menu, if I click refresh, it'll say one member is held. It's 0.5 tons. You can do the same thing with all the rest of these tabs for approval. It already fills it out. So total members, it's saying 117, reviewed, approved. So we'll go ahead and do an example of approved. So I'll just go to model, update status, approval modeling. I'll do approval status. So here's the ones that are the examples for this. It can be rejected, revise and submit, approve as noted, and approved. I'm just going to click approved, click by area, right click OK, and yes. If I go ahead and refresh this, it will say 35 members have been approved. And these are the other examples for the update status, the as noted, resubmit, and rejected. The detail checked we already did, and the held. For the fabricator, it'll already update all these, the total members, the approved, released for fabrication, fabrication complete, shipped, and held. Go ahead and do an example of shipped. Update status, shipping, actual ship date. Go by piece mark. Just click these. Click OK. I'll refresh. The same you can do for erector. So you'll do members that have been erected, the members at site, available to erect, rejected, shipped, and held. And you can do the same thing with the BIM station, or the BIM tab. The next we have over here are reports. They've been broken down into different categories. The detailing are going to be the reports most commonly used for this station. So if you're in the approval or the erector station, this tab right here will say the approval or erector. You can modify these reports by clicking on members across zone sequence. You can click, let's see, go ahead and click design. So you can create your own. You can run it. You could browse for any type of report that you'd like to find. So you could find one out of the approval station, out of the drafting station, out of the modeling station. So here's the BIM. Let's say in the detailing station, I only use a few. I can select. I'll just click open for this one. And then you can run the report out of any of them. Data report. All right. For the user tab, these are ones that have been written in Report Writer that are used a lot by our customers. You can modify these in Report Writer. You can design by using, you can create your own, and you can browse to look for any, like I said before. Another thing that you can do is I'll go ahead and go to my program data, and I'll go to SDS2 3.B, go to my reports, and here you'll see all of the different stations of reports that I browse to. Let's say in the detailing, I'm only going to use, just going to use 2 of these. Oops. Going to cut them. I'm going to go ahead and put these on my desktop so I don't lose them. So now I only have 2 that I use out of the detailing station. Now if I go back to the detailing station and I hit refresh, only 2 will be there. You can do the same with adding from different stations as well. The System tab are ones that are out of the box by SDS2, like the previous versions. That if you hit the reports, all these would show up. You can only run these reports and you cannot modify. The next is the MRP Interface. Now we've kind of broken this down so it's all grouped together. So our export type, you can do FabTrol, KISS, SPN, EJE, Fab Suite. I'm just going to pick KISS for now. And as you can see, right next to it is the setup for it. If I go ahead and click on that, it'll automatically bring up the setup. And then you can export. Another place that you can find this is in the setup or the job or fabricator options. Down below, you'll see that there's a resource center now. So if you go ahead and click on this and I click on home, it will automatically take me to sds2.com. The next is the forums. So instead of having to go to sds2.com and then signing in and then browsing to the forums, now you can just click forums and it'll take you right here and you can type in your username and password. The next we have is our Facebook page. And here you can see some of the stuff that SDS2 has been up to date with, things that design data is involved with. We post a lot of our YouTube videos on here that are really helpful. The next is our release notes. Here you can search for any version back to 6.0 up to 7.313. You can also chat with support now. You could do it usually from just signing in, and then you could chat with support. Now we make it accessible just from your main menu. If you have a quick question, you can just click on SDS2 support, type in your name, email, and company, and just type in the question. Next is our GoToMeeting. A lot of times it's really helpful with support if they need to see your screen. Instead of having to type in the address bar for the website each time, now you can just click here and it'll take you automatically to the meeting ID, and your support representative will have that already set up. Next is your documentation, which is just our help menu. So if you ever have a question about drawing conversion, for example, click on that and it'll help you out, show you what each individual thing means on the main menu. If you still can't find it, you can give your support representative a call or contact them. And finally, there is About SDS2. It just has design data's information on it, how to contact us, the support hotline, our mailing address, and our email. Now, as you can see that we have organized the main menu so that stuff is grouped together. You can see that the miscellaneous options were up in the right-hand corner, and now they're just all moved down. All of our imports and exports are located on the left-hand side now. And a new thing you can see now is PDF drawing export. If I go ahead and click on this, now instead of using a third-party PDF plotter, now we create our own. So let's say I already have detail sheets created. So I'm just going to go ahead and click 1 through 8. And you can do one document per sheet. So Maybe I'll just do 1 through 4 right now, and I'll hit OK. And it says, warning, sheets automatically selected for plotting have been deselected. Would you like to retain automatic selections next time? And I'll just say yes. So those probably went to my output. So if I go ahead and go to my program data, B, output tab, and here are my sheets. And it automatically detects what paper size you have, so you don't have to set it up each time either. Let's say I wanted to group them. I just wanted to create one file. So I'm going to create 1 through 8. And I'm going to take off this one document per sheet. And I'll go ahead and hit OK. And I'll just say yes to this. It's going to ask me where do I want to plot this to. I'll go ahead and say, yeah, I'll plot it to this one. Output. Now if I go to my output, here's my file. Go ahead and click on my bookmarks. Now it will say each piece that's on that sheet, like 1B1. I can go automatically to the details. And then I can just click here and it'll show me my detail sheet. Another thing, if you use PDF export and you use a different font other than the SDS2 font, you can search for, let's say I want to find 1B1. I'm just going to hit Control F here. I'm going to type in 1B1, hit next, and it's automatically going to take me to that specific detail. Or let's say I was searching for 5B2. So it'll automatically take me down here, and it's highlighted. SDS2 font is just made up of lines, but I think I used, let's see what, main menu. If you go to Job or Fabricator Options, and you go into Drawing Cosmetics, and your fonts, so we used Arial. So that's your one document per sheet, or you can uncheck it or check it. You can lock revision chart, your layer options, you can plot revision layers, you can plot comment layers, and then you can select detail sheets, gather sheets, and erection sheets. So if I uncheck those, all my detail sheets are shown. Now let's say I'm in Drawing Editor, and I'm just going to go to Submaterial A7. If I go to File and Export PDF, and sure, I'll just export it to my output. So you can do a quick PDF plot too. Just hit OK. If I go into A7. So it doesn't have to be on a sheet. So that concludes the tour of the main menu. If you have any questions that come up, please contact your support rep or SDS2 support.